Now, Pakistan have relied on their unpredictability and tenacity to scrap their way to the final. They were thrashed by India on June 4th. It has been a typical Pakistan turnaround since then. Here is their tournament so far.
ये सरफराज को ये बताने की जरूरत है कि भाई आपने कोई कमाल नहीं किया, ये आपको किसी ने मैच जितवाए हैं, ठीक है? आप इतना ज्यादा इतराएं ना, हमें सब पता क्या होता है क्या नहीं होता, ठीक है? अब मैं ये आप ये ना पूछ लीजिएगा कि किसने जितवाए हैं, तो मैं यही जवाब दूंगा, दुआओं ने और अल्लाह ताला ने। जो वसीले हैं उनका नाम मैं नहीं लूंगा।
Controversy and Pakistan cricket have a long, steady but not heady history. 2 days ahead of the team's biggest match in years came a seemingly baseless and now retracted statement suggesting results were fixed to ensure Pakistan's progress. The remarks of former Pakistan captain Amir Sohail tainted what has been a remarkable turnaround that has seen the bottom-ranked side in the competition reach the final of the ICC Champions Trophy 2017.
After the first loss, we were very down, but credit goes to, as I told before, credit goes to the team management. They posted up really well. After the India match, we just motivated the guys. Don't worry about the Indian match. Don't think this is gone. We have 2 matches. If we play good cricket, definitely we will win this tournament. Now we are in the final.
Unpredictability is another term long attached with Pakistan cricket, and this tournament has stamped that tag further. Group stage wins against South Africa and Sri Lanka came with their flaws, but the knocking out of pre-tournament favourites England in the semis was as complete a showing as any in recent times. New heroes have emerged in the unlikeliest of scenarios. Inquiries set up just 2 weeks ago back home now look a thing of the past.
I'm very happy about my youngster performance, especially Hassan day by day improving, Shadab day by day improving. Now today Fakhar Zaman is playing for 3rd match and now he's batting just like a champion batsman. So I'm really happy about this performance. Hopefully he will do well inshallah in futures as well.
The Mercurial have edged closer to majestic as the competition has progressed. Pakistan have defied odds and expectations to get to the summit clash. If they defy their arch-rivals on Sunday, Sarfaraz Ahmed's side will have scripted one of the most staggering upsets at any ICC event. Yash Jha, WION.
Chris Harris, when you look at this Pakistan performance, it somehow reminds me of the 1992 World Cup, the way they fought adversity and marched into the final when no one gave them a ghost of a chance, but they still ended up winning that tournament.
Yeah, very similar. The big difference for me, though, even in that 92 World Cup, there was still some very experienced Pakistan players. This side is a very young side, so for them it's been a remarkable turnaround. They struggled in that first game against India. Well, they basically got played off the park, and their recovery since then has been truly remarkable. They've done brilliantly. They've obviously beaten some of the other sides that were playing, for me, the best cricket at the time, and so their turnaround has been absolutely incredible. So they will be taking that confidence into the final, and I think that's going to help them in this big occasion.
One talk about before this match has been about the fitness of Mohammad Amir. Now, the funny thing was, Mickey Arthur, the coach, was asked this, and he said he's fit, he will play. Sarfaraz says we'll take a last-minute call, but you get a sense that even if it's 95%, they want him on the field because he is that game changer for them.
Yeah, he's a match winner, and I think that's a little bit of games. If Mickey Arthur's saying he's fit, he will definitely play, and I think Sarfaraz is sort of saying, oh, he might play and he might not, which to me is the captain's way of trying to surprise India by saying, yep, he's fit, he's ready to go. I think he has to play. It gives them a better opportunity. He hasn't picked up as many wickets in this tournament as I expected because he is a world-class player, but as we all know, it's the one match that really matters. It's the final. So if he has a good bowling performance in that final, this will be remembered for him as a very, very successful tournament.
And if you actually go back to that first game, he troubled India a lot when he came on with the new ball. India saw him off, and that was crucial. But the other bowler who could be crucial for Pakistan is Hassan Ali, because as the tournament has progressed, he's come on in leaps and bounds, and he's a deceptive customer. He doesn't look pretty fast, but he's got this great knack of taking important wickets.
He has been the best Pakistan bowler by some margin, because what he has done brilliantly when sides have got off to a good start, he comes in that difficult period in the middle overs where the opener bowlers have bowled, he bowls first changed, so you may still have the openers in, or you've got batsmen that are in form, and he's got to come in and try and remove them. He's bowled beautifully to left-handers because he just angles into the left-hander from around the wicket and then goes away, so he's got lots of caught behinds. He's got a great change of pace, and he is deceptive. He can bowl up to 140 Ks, so he has got that extra pace. But he's the leading wicket taker of the tournament, and every time he's come on to bowl, he's made an impact. He's been perhaps just a little bit expensive, but I believe that's because he's been asked to bowl and go after wickets, and he's done that job superbly. And he's kept Pakistan in a lot of the battles where it looks as though they've been played out of it. He comes on, picks up 2 wickets, all of a sudden Pakistan back in control.
And it's crucial for Pakistan, considering they're up against this big batting might of India, that Amir, Hassan Ali and Junaid Khan, they probably made a mistake by not picking him in that first game because Wahab Riaz had an absolute horror show. But Junaid Khan has been impressive as well. They need these 3 to be spot on. Anything loose, the Indian batsman will cash in.
Yeah, we saw the batsmen come right in that last game, but the reason for me, the biggest improvement in Pakistan, not only their fielding, which I think has improved dramatically, perhaps down to Steve Rickson being one of the fielding coaches with Mickey Arthur, but it's been their bowlers that have really stepped up because their batsmen, when you compare the numbers with India, just don't stack up. I think Azhar Ali, who was their top scorer after 3 games, had only scored 93 runs. So the bowlers have had to really keep Pakistan in this contest. And for a reasonably young side, you take out Mohammad Amir, they're a reasonably inexperienced bowling lineup. They've done a superb job. And as I said, Asim Ali, for me, has the one that stood out the most, but they've all done a good job. And even their part-time spinners, when they've come on to bowl, they've done a reasonably good job as well.
Yes, I was pretty impressed with Imad Wasim and the fact that they actually got him to open the bowling in that game against India. Didn't work out so well, but he has been able to strangle the opposition. Another key player who's perhaps responsible for this turnaround is the opener Fakhar Zaman, because he's played like the old Pakistani openers we used to see, fearless, going hard at the bowling, and they need that. They need to throw Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Jasprit Bumrah off the lines, and Fakhar Zaman is the man who could do that. Yeah,
well, that's what I think Pakistan were missing early on in the tournament, and I think finally the coaches have got it right, and they've brought him in as a little bit of a pitch hitter. He's a bit better than that. He likes to stay leg side of the ball and swing his arms, very strong through the offside, also goes leg side, and he's not afraid to take on the short pitch bowling. And I think he is the ideal person to be batting with Azhar Ali, who we see more as a correct batsman, a little bit slower, a bit more of a test player, but obviously played very well in this tournament as well. And I think together they form a very, very good partnership. Again, left and right hand combination, and you've got one who's a bit of a dasher, and he's in pretty good form. He's had 2 pretty good scores. So India will really see him as a danger. If Zaman can get going and try and score a little bit more than 30 or 50, get an 80, we know he'll get there quickly, and that will perhaps give Pakistan the opportunity for their middle order to play a bit better, take the pressure off, and perhaps score a total that's going to challenge this phenomenal Indian side at the moment.
That just leads into what I was going to ask you, because for Pakistan to do well, that middle order has to stand up. Babar Azam, we've seen him come into form, but a lot will be expected from the experienced heads in Shoaib Malik and Mohammad Hafiz. And I'm very happy to see the way Sarfaraz Ahmed has led this team. You know, he's not in the pantheon of greats of Pakistan captains like a Miadad or an Imran Khan, even a Wasim Akram, but he's managed to get this team playing together, which, as you know, in Pakistan cricket is a huge thing.
Yeah, well, you can see that passion. And just on your first point, I think Hafiz and Shoaib Malik, in particular, 2 of their more experienced one-day players, they'll be very disappointed with their tournament so far from a batting point of view. So they'll be very keen to make it right for the final because they know that's where it matters. But Sarfaraz has played brilliantly. You can see the passion when he's in the field. He's diving around a bit more. He's trying to G his players up. And you could just see the passion and the delight when he hit the winning runs against Sri Lanka and just how excited and what that meant to him. So, look, yeah, I think he's done a tremendous job in leading the side and helping them pull them around. But make no mistake, not just the middle order, but the top order, their bowlers, Pakistan have got to continually improve and even get better in this final to have any chance.
Yes, it's interesting you say that, because you from New Zealand, you probably don't understand that here in India and Pakistan, it doesn't matter how many runs you get in the first 4 matches. If you're the hero of the final, you're a national treasure. So what we also done is we're going to bring up some graphics now, and we're trying to look at the comparison between India and Pakistan, because that comparison is stark. You know, when you look at the Indian batsmen, what the Indian team has scored in this entire tournament, and you put them up against the Pakistan numbers, those numbers start looking very shaky, you know, and then you figure out that Pakistan haven't scored that many runs. India have scored close to 1,100 runs in this tournament. They've lost just 12 wickets. The average per wicket is close to 90 plus, 91. Pakistan, the entire team scored just 735, an average of 33. That has to improve.
Yeah, it certainly does. And look, the reason for these numbers effectively is that second line, which is wickets lost. When you don't lose wickets, we've seen how strong India have been at the top. Obviously, if you get in and get used to the pace, your run rate increases. And then you go to the very bottom line, you see India's run rate throughout this tournament has been 6.23 because they've only lost the 12 wickets. Pakistan, on the other hand, have lost wickets on regular occasions, haven't had that consistency at the top order, and they've had to rely on their middle order a little bit, only average 5.15. So the absolute key for Pakistan, and the reason they're still in this tournament, is the way that their bowlers have bowled. They've managed to pick up wickets and try and slow the opposition. They desperately have to do that to India. If they don't get early wickets, I think they're playing themselves right out of the game.
Because I think that's been the game plan of teams against India. Somehow restrict them to under 300, because you know that if this Indian team gets 260, even 270, 280, then Pakistan are going to struggle.
Yeah, the problem with that, I mean, that's a good story in theory. The problem that we haven't been able to restrict, or any team hasn't been able to restrict India, is purely because of the form of those top three. And they haven't lost wickets. So guys have got in, and when they've got in, they've made big scores. Like the failures have been 70s and 80s, and that's what oppositions need to do to compete against India. And then you've got guys coming in who are finishing the game off, and that's been the absolute difference. The Indian, obviously the form team with the bat, but as we know, with their bowlers, they haven't picked up lots of wickets. So that's where Pakistan have got to try and make up and try and even these two sides, which is going to be difficult.
Since you were talking about the Indian top order, we're going to play some numbers out which shows the dominance of that top order. And as you said, it could also be something Pakistan could exploit, because the runs scored by the Indian team, the top three, Dhawan, Rohit, Sharma and Kohli, is 874. The number of runs scored by the Pakistan team, all batsmen put together, 735. Now, they've been dismissed only 8 times, average 110, a strike rate of 96. But that's the worry for India as well. What happens if these three don't get going?
Oh, exactly. Well, from India's point of view, if they do, like in the last game, they're only going to need those 3 players to win the game. But if they don't, that's where the problem is. And that's what Pakistan have to try and get right. They've got to get early wickets, and they've got to get into that middle order. And as I said, that Indian middle order is still fantastic, and they've got some amazing numbers themselves and experience. When you look at Yuvraj, you look at Dhoni, and then you've got the finishing power of Pandya, and then you've still got Jadaf as well. So terrific players in that middle order, but they've had no time in the middle. But
just to interrupt you, how do you think, if the situation comes, how do you think that Indian middle order will have to adapt, especially that Pakistan fast bowlers? Because knowing Pakistan, if they're in early, they'll want to go for the kill, restrict India to as much like the game against England. Don't let them get off.
Well, that's what they'll do. If they get early wickets, what that will mean, as we've seen throughout this tournament, if you get wickets, you slow the run rate. And especially if you get into an Indian middle order that hasn't played much. Virtually, they've all had one hit, and that one hit's been pretty good. But if they lose early wickets, one thing is that's different for India. They haven't lost early wickets in this tournament. They haven't lost more than 2 wickets early. So if they get into that middle order, they're going to have to reconsolidate. And all of a sudden, I think if they lose early wickets, 300 goes out the window, and India will just try and post 270, 280. And if Pakistan can basically restrict India to anything under 300, you have to say, you know, if Saman at the top of the order gets going, Azhar Ali has another good innings, then Pakistan can possibly challenge and chase down something under 300.
I'm actually trying to remember a game in Cuttack, the place where I was born, beginning of the year. India lost 3 early wickets, but then you had Yuvraj Singh and Mahendra Singh Dhoni really go and smash England all over the park and get to a 350 plus score. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Yuvraj Singh, they're going to be key as well, because these are the big games. Yuvraj Singh always fired up, said played a 300 game last time, didn't get a bat, said he wants to be remembered as a fighter. MS Dhoni, the best record chasing, after just a bit more than Virat Kohli as well. He knows how crucial it is, and he knows how to marshal those middle overs.
Yeah, and that's why those 2 players particularly are crucial. If India's do lose early wickets, those 2 guys' experience, and not just that, but their ability to play a different game as well. If they need to go and finish, as we've seen Yuvraj and Dhoni already do this tournament, they're great finishers, and they'll score at a strike rate of 120, 130, and just put the cherry on the top of the Indian innings. if they've got a good start at the top order and take them to that 320, 330, even possibly 350. If they do lose early wickets, they still have that experience where they can come in, as I said, consolidate, play a slightly different game and push it around and then wait till those later overs and then go again. But if they have to do that, which they will in the final, that means that it could possibly restrict India to getting under that 300 mark.
Okay, under 300, that's something they have to be careful, and this graphics will tell you why. It's going to be a bit of a task for India to get those big runs, because the one thing where Pakistan are perhaps slightly ahead of India is in the bowling department. They've taken 31 wickets, almost same, 30 from India, but the economy rate 4.9, and they know how to choke the opposition, that bowling unit of theirs. And that's perhaps the only place where you see them having a slight edge over India.
Yeah, and I think also the reason India, with those 30 wickets, part of that reason also is because their batters have been so dominant and sides have had to chase big totals, so they'd perhaps have to take more risks early, and hence the reason I think India have picked up a few wickets, because they've put so much pressure on with the bat. But yeah, for me, Pakistan have been probably one of the best bowling units in the side, and so therefore in some ways that adds another dynamic to the final. You want the best bowling side against this Indian side because they are just playing that well. So you want the best bowlers against the top batsmen, and that's why this final is almost even more exciting.
Yes, it's always a contest between bat and ball, and in a final you don't want to see a one-sided final. You want to see a close game which goes down to the wire.